Hello, we meet again. There are so many weddings and celebrations during the holidays, which reminds me of some bizarre and awkward things that happened when I was a bridesmaid before. On the 12th of July, 2018, one of my best friends got married, and I received her invitation. As a bridesmaid, it was my first time taking on this role, and honestly, I never really wanted to be a bridesmaid. I'd always heard stories about how bridesmaids often get touched inappropriately or get pranked by others. But since she's my best friend, I really wanted to be her bridesmaid and stand by her side as she entered into marriage, so I agreed. That day, I put on the beautiful bridesmaid dress and did my makeup so well that even I was amazed by how I looked. The off-shoulder design made my collarbones look a bit sexy, and the fitted waist, along with the light pink dress that fell just below my knees, made me look especially petite and cute. When the groom received his beautiful bride, I felt extremely nervous and flustered. Because of the bridesmaid games, at that time a bunch of people wanted to play games. It's a tradition, so you can't refuse or throw a tantrum. Then they came up with a partner yoga game, where the guy lies on the ground and holds up my feet with his hands, and I, on the other end, support myself with my hands on his feet. It looks like I'm lying on top of him, but actually there's an arm's length between us. Deep down, I didn't want to do it because I wasn't wearing safety shorts. But with everyone egging me on, I had no choice but to go along with it. When the groomsman was holding my feet, I felt so ticklish around my ankles. I couldn't support myself, for laundry was exhausting, and I was sure I was exposed. Just thinking about him lying right beneath me, maybe even able to look up and see the inside of my thighs, or even more, made me really uneasy. I didn't know if anyone else was blatantly looking either. I felt especially anxious and a bit hot all over, but I could only grit my teeth and hang in there. But I didn't expect that the groomsman would let go of my feet even faster than I could react, which made me fall straight down and sit right on top of him. I could even feel how hard he was down there, and the way he was positioned made my lower abdomen press directly against him. I hurriedly stood up, my whole face burning red, and everyone around was still making a fuss about it. In the end, the bridesmaids and the groomsmen had to play a game where they squeezed a balloon together. The balloon was placed between two people facing each other, and you couldn't touch it with any part of your body, except by squeezing your hands weren't allowed to move. So when I was squeezing the balloon with the guy opposite me, we got closer and closer because of the balloon, but it still wouldn't pop. Then that guy wrapped his arms around my waist and held me really tight, and in the end he even pushed toward me a bit. The balloon did pop, but he pushed up against me down their laughter, and at the very end his group of buddies actually picked me up horizontally. The more I struggled, the more excited they looked. I could feel their hands all over me, touching my chest, and even worse, some hands reached down below. Then there was another part, which was looking for the wedding shoes. The groomsmen suspected that our bridesmaids had hidden the shoes, hidden them under their skirts, and then someone started egging the groomsmen on to go look for them, and it all turned into chaos. I was taken advantage of. Really, they weren't looking for anything. It was obviously just groping and inappropriate touching. I was so angry, I was about to cry, but then I thought I couldn't ruin my friend's wedding, so I just had to swallow my anger and put up with it. One of the groomsmen actually came over and whispered in my ear that he liked me, that he thought this was so exciting, and that he really wanted me. What a creep. The beautiful bride is my high school classmate, let's call her Xiaoxi. Finally, I could have a proper conversation with my best friend, so I chatted with my best friend Wei, talked about school, about our lives now. When I asked her how the groom had managed to win her over, she blushed and just said, "That's a secret." Before we knew it, it was already 8 in the evening. The groom, reeking of alcohol but still quite clear-headed, immediately softened his gaze the moment he saw Xiaoxi. Oh wow, they really make everyone else jealous. I couldn't help but think how wonderful it would be if my future boyfriend could be that gentle. You know, you just start to imagine things. Then the groom, I don't know where he got them, brought out a bunch of drinks. Everyone was having such a good time that we drank a lot, and soon the floor was littered with empty bottles. Then someone, I'm not sure who, suggested that just drinking wasn't exciting enough. They put out some dice and said, "Let's play strip poker, who's brave enough to join?" This group of lovable goofballs had already been drinking, so they all started shouting in agreement. Even Xiaoxi, who was sitting next to me, had clearly left her brain behind. She was clapping her hands and foolishly chiming in, yeah, let's do it. I really didn't think it was appropriate. But then again, compared to just continuing to drink, since everyone already knew each other well, playing a game actually seemed like a safer bet. We split into pairs, of course. The groom was paired with the bride, and I just happened to be grouped with the groomsman who said he liked me. What can I say about luck? In the first round, my group lost. The groomsman was wearing 2 layers, so he still had some reserves for the game. We were already feeling hot from the drinks, so he took off his jacket. Meanwhile, Xiaoxi was off to the side with the groom, whispering about something I couldn't quite catch. Xiaoxi kept giggling, so I pretended to look pitiful and said, "Xiaoxi, you're already teaming up with outsiders against me so soon." Xiaoxi blushed and said, "No way, I'm not. Haha." And so, the game continued. The best man really had terrible luck before long. He had lost so many rounds that he was down to just his underwear. Meanwhile, the groom on the other side had only taken off his jacket. Once again, it was our side that lost. We couldn't take off any more clothes. If we did, everything would be exposed. So, he picked up that glass of liquor, ready to drink it. He was already pretty drunk by then. I started to feel a bit sorry for him, so I said, "Alright, since I'm still wearing the bridesmaid dress, I can only offer up one more piece of underwear." At this point, the pink bridesmaid dress could barely hide the fact that I was wearing nothing underneath. The game went on, and finally, luck turned to our side. We scored 3 consecutive wins, and at last, the groom was down to just his underwear. Of course, good luck couldn't stay on our side forever. In the next round, we lost again. This time, it was either my boyfriend had to take off his only remaining underwear, or I had to take off my dress right there. While we were hesitating, Xiaoxi gave us a sly look and suggested we could play a game as punishment instead. To my surprise, the groom said he wanted me to dance with him. So I pretended to be generous, stood up, reached out my hand flirtatiously and said, "Come on." Then Xiaoxi started clapping and egging us on from the side, making my face turn even redder. But I had no strength to resist anymore. My whole body just leaned against him, letting him do as he pleased. He picked me up in his arms and carried me straight toward the room. In the end, of course, he didn't get his way, but thinking back on that experience as a bridesmaid still feels like a bone stuck in my throat. I swore I'd never be a bridesmaid again. Alright, that's all for my story about being a bridesmaid. If you have any thoughts, feel free to leave them in the comments. If you like me, please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on the notification bell for our channel. Bye bye!